Check my settings, make sure we good to go. What's up, y'all? I was just in here listening to a video about some Bible verses and things of that nature. You know, gotta be blessed, especially in every single thing that you do. I don't know if I'll keep this part in or not, but feel free to skip, if this ain't particularly your thing. But Isaiah 43:19 says, never lose hope. Just when you think it's over, he will make a way for you. Micah 7:7 says, but me, I'm not giving up. I'm sticking around to see what God will do. I'm waiting for God to make things right. I'm counting on God to listen to me. Proverbs 3:6 says, in everything you do, put God first, and he will direct you and crown your efforts with success. And I think on that note, we'll go ahead and get this bad boy started, man. So like I said, I don't know how much that will be left in the video, or in the podcast, but welcome, man. It's episode 5. Happy to be alive. Could be on the other side, but as long as I wake up with breath in my lungs, I'll do what I gotta do, man. So welcome back to episode 5, the This Starts With Me podcast with your boy Big Homie, aka Hakim. And I'm really excited for this one, particularly because I don't know how long this one is going to be. I don't really have too much to yap about. Honestly, just kind of a little bit of a reflection. I thought about honestly doing a little bit of episode where I just kind of talk about like my upbringing and kind of like the some of the things that kind of make me tick the way that they do. But we'll see. Didn't really have too much of a plan because honestly, this week was a long one for a good reason. The birthday was this past Monday. Turned good old 27. As you may have listened in the last episode, I've destroyed my back, and just having to recover from that has been just quite the process because I've been feeling kind of lazy and things like that. So I just have to overcome those trials and tribulations, different challenges and stuff like that. But yeah, man, if you are listening on your way to work, I hope that you're driving safely. Thank you for tuning in today. All those that are tuning in at whichever point that you are tuning in, whether it be today on Saturday, February 8th, or next week or next year, 10 years and another lifetime. I appreciate your time today. If you start in that work shift, it's going to be a good one, or if it's a bad one, nothing bad ever lasts. So, hey, it'll be over eventually. If you're listening at home, working out, whatever the case may be, I hope that it's a good one. I hope that you grinding. I hope that it's giving you that dopamine hit that you kind of striving for, and I hope that you continue on your progress, on your journey. I'm wishing all the most success and biggest blessings for you, So, yeah, man. And on that note, turning 27 was not necessarily an eye opener, but almost just kind of confirmed some of my suspicions about life, because life is really beautiful, man. And when you kind of take the time to just learn a little bit about it, pay attention to what's around you, it's really something that you can grow to cherish and grow to make the most out of. And for me, on this birthday, I was surrounded by family, and it was just one of those situations where you truly don't know how blessed you are until you've been with and without what makes you feel good. And once you learn what truly makes you feel good, which is family and loved ones and people who are truly there around you to support you and whatever your dreams may be, it's really something that is truly special and near and dear to my heart. So, to all of those listening, especially, the Mrs. family, those that choose to support me, choose to accept me into their family, just understand that I truly do love you as if you were my own sibling, or, I truly do love you in the sense of, I'm ready. I'll die for you. I'll do anything that I got to do. So yeah, man, just life is really beautiful. And for me, it's just taking the time to kind of learn about what family is, forgiveness and learning to forget because you've forgiven, and giving people chances and giving yourself a chance to give other people chances. Just a lot of beautiful things. So I think this past birthday was honestly the best one that I've had, and not even because of gifts or things like that. I mean, the gifts was great. The missives was fantastic, of course, as always, but really taking time to spend time and have conversations with loved ones that I never really had the time to do, before. And I think, this past weekend was something that was really an eye opener for me. And, I was thinking about it honestly every day this week. So, to those out there that do support me, that do listen in, whether you listen to one episode or all episodes, or this is your first episode, or you haven't had time to even get through a whole episode, regardless, whatever that you are, able to do, I appreciate that. And, truly thank you for, just giving me a chance. And ultimately, this is just me giving myself a chance, and having other people doing that as well and support me is something that I don't think I really could have ever dreamed of. And it's really truly kind of forming to be a little passion of mine. And I think the more that other people recognize it, it keeps me disciplined and not only motivated, but it keeps me disciplined to have a goal and have a plan and have a vision, and have something to strive towards too. So if you feel like you like me and you kind of just been coasting through life and not really knowing what to do or what direction to take, just do that thing that you always been kind of scared to do. Go ahead and jump off the porch, and I think that the results will, do you well. Because even if you fail, there's always, again, lessons. There's always blessings in the lesson. So wherever that you do fail at, understand that you were meant to fail at it. And if you're meant to succeed at it, it'll always be there for you, So, yeah, man, it's just an opportunity for me to just kind of learn what life is really all about, and loving what love really is. Because love is really just so complex, bro. Like, it's really something that you have to have within yourself and then have for others. So we as ourselves are already just such complex human beings, right? Like, think about all the emotions that you go through on a daily basis, and then think about your family's emotions that you interact with on a daily basis, and then think about how their friends and their other family members' emotions interact with them on a daily basis. And, it just creates this whole entire chain effect. So I think you have to encompass that in the word love. And when you think about it like that, it really is almost impossible to define. But for me, I think the definition of love, man, is almost just like effort, right? Because love is, to me, and this is all to me, it's much more than a feeling. It's much more than a attitude, or a way to express yourself. Like, it's really almost a way of life, right? Like, when you lead with love and you spread love, anger really has no place, right? The great MLK said, only love can drive out hate. Hate can't drive out hate, because that's the same thing, right? So the only way to drive out hate, whether it's political, personal, professional, is to just love whatever it is that you hate or that may hate you. And of course, that sounds a lot easier, said than done, but it's a practice and it's an effort. And for me, like, I wake up just so full of love and full of life and spirit, just feeling so full, because I'm truly learning to love every single aspect of my life that gets me throughout my day. And that includes all the bad shit. Like, that truly includes all the shit at work that annoys me, going through a ton of changes at work, and being able to control myself emotionally. Again, still allowing myself to, react the way that I want to react. People piss me off, people annoy the shit out of me and things like that, but not letting it take me to a place that's out of my character, out of my body, And for me, like, that's what love is when you are so kind of like you're so in tune with yourself that you allow yourself to be yourself in all situations, understanding that you have to control yourself in all situations as well, right? So for example, like, if you're arguing, significant other, friends, whatever the case may be, or just kind of like on edge, like, you have to be able to communicate how you're feeling either in that moment or after. And communicating that can happen in different forms, right? Whether it just be, signs of good faith, whether it be a conversation, whether it be a card or a note, something like that. Like, it can vary so wide, but as long as you kind of keep love on the front of your mind, then you really can't go wrong in terms of the actions that take place after. Like, does that make sense? And I feel like once you start leading your life with that, you almost don't really get mad. Like, these past couple weeks, I mean, like, I've been going through, like every episode, I'm going through shit. The Winter Blues episode, like, it was a long ass month, especially coming into the new year in January. And luckily, like, nothing, traumatic happened. Like, it was all good stuff. But of course, hard times have to exist in order for the good times to exist, right? So with it being hard, like, I really didn't even find myself being all that mad, if I was at all. I mean, like, of course, can we find other words? Irritated, agitated, annoyed, sure, fine. But like anger and madness kind of just leave your body the more you just lead with love, So, and for me, having a birthday and having people there to support me, whether they kind of knew me or not, like, was almost crazy, because it's like, okay, that's what I put out in the world, and now that's truly what I'm getting back. So I never understood that feeling, because I never truly led with love in all forms and facets of my life, and now it's seeming like it's finally returning back to me. So, if you feel like you're kind of getting negative shit back in your life, or the feedback that you're constantly getting isn't positive, or whatever the case may be, like, kind of look at what you're putting out in the world, because I am truly learning at the nice age of 27 that what you put out in the world, bro, will honestly come back to you tenfold. And it's crazy, and that means literally everything. So like, the anger that you put out there is going to return to you tenfold. Like, when you pissed off at people, or you're projecting, your issues, or whatever the case may be. I mean, it could either be a legitimate issue, or it could be, maybe a less severe issue, but it's an issue nonetheless, and everybody is entitled to, have their own opinions and feelings and things like that. But when you allow it to take yourself out of your body, and you start emitting that energy out into the world, it's going to come back tenfold. Because think about it. If you're in a group of 10 people, and you're the only person with a negative attitude, it has to catch on. Misery loves company, right? So if another person gets upset, and now y'all too upset, well, okay, what is everybody else upset about? And now, as more people kind of learn what is making other people upset, people bandwagon and group think, and don't really think for themselves. So now a group of 10 that had one person being negative is now a group of 9 with one person being positive, right? So just because you put that energy out when maybe you don't necessarily have to, or you didn't internalize it yet, or deal with it, or process it, properly, whatever the case may be, for your emotional boundaries, or whatever the case may be, man, whatever you put out there will come back to you 10 times. And for that, like, I consider myself both incredibly lucky and unlucky, because the shit that happens to me be like downright stupid. I was thinking of this moment from last year when the missus and I went to Florida. We went to St. Pete, and then we went up to PCB because the rest of her family came into town. So we all hung out, and man, I was on the beach, right? So we're on the beach with the family, and my little one of my baby, she was at the beach, and she's not the biggest fan of like the sand and the water and all that, right? And she asked me to pick her up. Now, I had hooked my keys, because I have a carabiner on my keys. I hooked my keys on my shorts, right? Hooked them on the shorts. As I pick her up, of course, I'm not feeling it. As I pick her up, my keys fall off my shorts into the beach, assumably into the water, right? So what I do is, I don't panic, because if I panic, guess what? The whole group is going to panic, because guess what I did? Lose my damn keys in the water. So I start, just quietly, patiently searching. You do the couple pats on each side. You just try to wiggle your feet around, and trying to maintain conversation with the group without freaking out, because guess what? If I lose my keys in this beach, I will have to go through this whole process of getting my car just off the beach, because I can't just have the car sitting in the parking lot, right? Don't want to get towed and things like that. The crib is not that close, and there's a lot of us and not that many cars, right? So I'm sitting there trying to not freak out, but I'm slowly starting to freak out because I don't feel it, in the ground. So I look around, look on the ground, and the missus looks at me, and I look at her as I'm patting, and we can just, telepathy happened, and she knew that I was looking for my keys. So, so she starts kind of like quietly looking around without trying to like freak the group out. And she's like, "Oh, what are you looking for?" And I'm like, fuck me. Don't say nothing, cause it's gonna be a mayhem around this mug. So I look down, and guess what? The keys were right there in the ground, because my the fob with the unlock button and stuff like that, it was thick. I have a cover on it, and it was stuck inside the stand. So luckily it didn't wash away, because I promise you it was in water, y'all. So luckily, picked the keys up, put it in my pocket, like put it in the missus bag or whatever the case may be, make sure it was secure, and we was on our way. So yeah, man, I do consider myself incredibly lucky and unlucky at the same time, but whatever you put out in the world, man, is truly something that returns to you tenfold. So if you do some good deeds, man, don't think that it's going to come back to you tomorrow. You're going to get a bigger check or something like that, but understand that, where times could have gone bad, they may go good for you because of the energy that you put out there. So it's kind of like working out. Like when you work out, especially like you're starting a workout journey, or you're on your workout journey, like the results you're going to get don't happen like right overnight, right? Like I think we all understand that results that take time for you to want to fix take time to actually like come to fruition, right? Like they say with gaining and losing weight, like it takes time for you to gain the weight, so it's going to take time for you to lose the weight, right? So people who are looking to lose weight kind of don't understand. This is from a person that went from 330 pounds to 215. So I don't want to hear nothing. I'm very credible in this department. Okay. So if you don't go about it the right ways, then of course it's not going to come out, the outcome and the success isn't going to be where you want it to be. Right. So yeah, man, whatever you put out there in the world, dude, it's going to come back tenfold to you. So lead with love, even on the hard days, even when you waking up. Love the fact that you were able to wake up and that alarm went off, because how many times have you needed to wake up for something and that alarm didn't go off, or you forgot to set that alarm and stuff like that? This shit's ass. You start freaking out, your morning starts off bad, and now you're assuming you're gonna have a bad day. And even if you have a great day afterwards, it's like, okay, you're gonna remember the bad shit that happens, right? Because what do we do as humans? We always remember the bad shit more than we do the good shit. But if you focus on love and you lead with love, it actually flips. I really don't even remember most of the arguments or bickerments or whatever the case may be that I do have in my day-to-day life. Not to say that I do be arguing on, every day, because that's just ridiculous. But if I, took those bickerments and arguments to heart and just kept it so serious, and then allow myself to just feel it and get out of it, and figure out a way to flip it into a lovely situation, then I think I would be a much more bitter person, to be honest with you, because it is a lot that does go on, and I think we all have a lot that goes on. And this isn't to say that hey, you're different from anybody else, because for me, I think there will always be somebody bigger, smarter, stronger, better in some sense than you. But that's why we focus on ourselves, right? You stay in your own lane, and then if you need to change lanes, you glance over, make sure that it's safe to go, and then you possibly make your move. But for the most part, you look over to your rearview mirrors and you stay right there in that lane. You look up in the main rearview one, and then you just say, hey, all right, cool, you back there, we safe? All right, say less, we good to go. But yeah, man, just life is all about learning, and I think the more that you learn, the more that the brain stays moving and stays young and fruitful, and the more that you learn to love and love to learn, I think it can really bode for, an excellent relationship in all aspects of your life. So yeah, man, whatever you put out there, you'll get it back tenfold, I promise you. If you donate, like good things happen to everybody. Oh, and that's another thing I want to get into. I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers, and he was like, I brought up the topic of like, life is fair because it's perfectly unfair, right? Like, and he was like, well, what about the people who scam and, do bad things and get money and things like that? Like, what about those people? Because good things happen to them when they do bad things because they're rich or this, that, and the third. And, I brought up several topics, but one of them was just like, well, think about, kind of like the personal lives that they may live that they don't advertise, right? And a lot of times when we see AKA celebrities, passing away due to their own doings, it comes out that they weren't happy, that they were severely depressed, and that they were alcoholics, and that they didn't really have a family, or that they didn't really have like a life of love. Like they didn't have love anywhere in their life, or they didn't have love where they felt life was worth living, right? So I think a lot of times what meets the eye is something that we judge purely off of, and not kind of what may be possible behind the scenes, right? And on that opposite end, it's completely true, right? You have great people who have amazing hearts, who donate, who are teachers, who don't care about money, who babysit, who are in the community, who make a positive impact, and and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And some of those people end up like poor, or heartbroken, or alone, or in tragic accidents. Like, bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. But that's where it's perfectly unfair, because who knows, right? So I think if you don't know what the outcome could be, then you might as well try to make it a good one, right? Like, for me, what's the point of not knowing what the outcome could be, but guaranteeing a bad one? Because I guarantee if I put out some bad shit out there, eventually that bad shit is going to come back tenfold, right? So if you flip it and do the opposite and try to put as much good shit out there, energy, actions, just thoughts, your heart, compassion, empathy towards situations that you can't even relate to or don't even really care for, opening your heart and opening your brain and mindset to ways that, truly allow the human heart to be what it is. Even doing that, can turn out what some think were bad. But as long as you do that, you're at least guaranteeing a positive outcome at some point. Man, it ain't gonna be all positive. Shit still sucks. I think shit gonna suck for, a while, but I think it only sucks as long as you let it suck. Pause. So I think you lead with love, and then it takes the anger and hatred out your body to where the bad shit that does happen to you, because it eventually will happen, it really don't even like take a toll on you. So I think that was like a great takeaway from not even just the birthday, but kind of just like the month and the year that it has been for the past 365 days. I think it's been just incredibly learning overall, and understanding like what you put out there, be conscious of what you put out there at every single moment. And that's how your days truly feel like fulfilling long days where you're tired because you worked hard, like you made it through the fire, the storm, the trials and the tribulations and the challenges, and you climbed that hill and you made it back to the bottom safe and sound. So I think as long as you focus on that, you'll be all right. But yeah, man, another what's funny about the birthday shit too is that stayed up till like 5:30 in the morning, like drinking and stuff like that, and didn't even throw up. Now, of course, I'm not sitting here encouraging drinking or whatever the case may be, but whatever you do, make sure that you do it responsibly. I do encourage that. And understanding that everything affects you in different ways. Everything affects everybody in different ways too. So I think sometimes, especially with like alcohol and people drinking and things like that, I think it can be really easy to be judgmental, especially even from myself. Like I can be very judgmental, but I mean, most part, I really don't give a fuck what you do or how you do it, or anything like that. But of course, questions are to be raised about people's behaviors and things like that. But yeah, man, sometimes a little lit, it would be a little lit, it'd be alright. But yeah, tell you what, I ain't doing that shit again. I think I'm cool. I think I'm tapped out. But yeah, man, I'm just eternally grateful for the family, man, for everything, for every part of life. Like, y'all don't understand. I wake up every morning almost in tears because of just how blessed my life is, especially considering some of the things that I've been through, And for me, like, when I go to sleep at night. Like, if I don't pray out loud, I at least think my prayers. And in my prayers, I say, Lord, if you, I know that I'm not speaking right now, but if you can just hear me in my heart, then, I think that you'll truly understand what I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm just eternally grateful for the missus and the family that she's allowed me to have and be there and enjoy alongside with her. Because, she didn't have to do that. And her family didn't have to accept me. And, like, none of this had to happen, But I think as long as you put that positive, loving energy out there, like, people will be attracted to it. At least those that want to be, in the same light. And imagine, like I said, the 10 people in the group, love or hate can greatly influence those that may not have any feelings at all. So choose what you put out there, because you never know what that next person may feel who's next door or right next to you or across on the phone or on the other side on the FaceTime, stuff like that. So yeah, man. In other news, basketball wise, NBA world has been absolutely on fire. So there's been some huge trades in the NBA world. Let's see, we had Jimmy Butler go from the Heat to the Golden State Warriors. We had Luka to the Lakers. We had the Hawks just make some stupid moves. That's what they do. But the main thing, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about basketball, obviously, but the main thing that I did take away from the big Luka trade is just to give y'all some context. So Luka is a European man, and he's been a professional basketball player since about the age of 15. So this is a guy that's really like that, right? Like, he's a superstar in the league. He's only like 25 or something like that, young. And if everything bodes out well, we can see him going like another decade at least of, kind of dominating in his craft and his art. And he was traded from an organization that drafted him like 5, 6, 7 years ago. And, it was honestly like, we thought it was going to kind of be like the Kobe situation where he was just on the team forever and he retired there and hopefully he gets some championships and, be a great player. Woohoo, call it a day. But he got traded out of absolutely nowhere. And personally, I think the reason he got traded was the upstairs leadership management didn't like him, and he was up for a $345 million opportunity with a extension from the Dallas Mavericks, the team that he was with, right? So funny enough, crazy enough, he was in the championship round last year, right? So it's obvious that this next year that they can make it, if not that far, all the way and actually win the thing, right? Tell me why they traded him. And I think it's because they didn't want to pay him all that money. So this man who just bought a $15 million house in Dallas to be loyal to the organization just got traded to Los Angeles, knowing, and now he's ineligible to get that $345 million opportunity with the Lakers, by the way, because there's certain stipulations with the amount of time that you have to play with the organization and things like that. Like, there are certain rules and procedures that go along with getting all this money, usually dealing with time, right? Man, they screwed this man out of $345 million. And that just made me think, like, again, like, loyalty, man. Loyalty is something just so interesting to me, especially because, like, I own dogs and I run a team of like 11 people at work. And, like, we have, and I have a relationship with the missus. So, like, loyalty comes, and, I have family and stuff like that. Like, loyalty comes in so many different ways for me in my life that it kind of put into perspective of, like, be careful of what you're loyal to and what is seemingly loyal to you, right? Like, imagine you give yourself to an organization that you assume is gone way past just you being a dollar bill, assuming that you've made great relationships with some of the members and things like that. And then what if it's true that they just traded him because they wanted to avoid a $345 million ticket, wouldn't that be fucking insane? So yeah, that just kind of put loyalty in my mind. And, like, for me, I'm loyal to three things: God, family, and my loved ones. And that's it. Loved ones, of course, including the missus. So that's literally it. Anything else I know can come and can go. So as long as I'm, with those three things, I'll be all right. So for me, it's like, damn, imagine putting your trust and your life and loyalty into an organization, and particularly into one person that can make a decision on your future. Like, so be careful to what you're loyal to, man. And I think that it's important to recognize what you're giving your loyalty to as well. Like, I know that I give my loyalty to my home, my family, like my intermediate life, I give the most loyalty to. Like the people that I see on a daily basis or talk to on a daily basis, apart, from my family, obviously, that's what I give my loyalty to. My art, my craft, my passion doing this podcast too is like something I give my loyalty to. My car is something. Now, the funny thing about the car is that car has been literally there since, let's see, we got it in 2002. So yeah, I've driven and ridden in my car from when I was like 3-4 years old. So like I have a certain aspect of loyalty to my car because I know that it's dependable, and I know that if something goes wrong, I can fix it, or I can get it fixed reasonably. Like I've figured out, I know that thing, the inside to back, like I know the thing from up to down, front to back, side to side, and everything in between. I know that thing better than I know myself sometimes. So think about, like, loyalty to what you are and to kind of what and who deserves it. Man, it's crazy. I mean, even like loyalty to your barber, especially like if you're a guy, like, and you getting haircuts. Me personally, I cut my own hair, so I'm loyal to myself and my own barber. But if you still going to barbers out there, man, like, imagine like Zach LaVine, right? He was on the Bulls for like the past 7-8 years, and now he got traded all in Chicago. He got traded all the way to Sacramento, California, on the Kings. So you think his barber just gonna fly out there once a week, twice a week? I mean, maybe, depending on how many clients he got, stuff like that. But probably he's going to, just get some more Chicago people and, make up the difference, call it a day. So imagine breaking up with like your barber over 8 years that, you giving your loyalty to and making you the freshest dude out here and shit like that. And now you have to trust another dude who literally can possibly have your aesthetic life in his hands, So I think loyalty and love is something that almost goes hand in hand, because obviously I hope that you will be loyal to something that you love. But in the case that you're not, think about what you're giving that loyalty thing to, man. And if you do love it and you decide to give that loyalty to it, like, does it love you? The streets, they say the streets never love you back. So damn sure can't love the streets. But that substance, that outlet, that way of self-expression, that piece of heaven for you, that piece of therapy for you, like, focus and give your loyalties to that. And I think that it can kind of help fortify you and keep you where you need to be and keep you focused, especially because if you're loyal to your, if you're loyal to your passions and loyal to your art and your craft, like, I think again, like, kind of like just the theme of this episode, it can return tenfold. So yeah, man, life is beautiful. And honestly, like I said, I don't think I really had too much to really say today. I think up until this point, it's just really about learning and grooving and moving and just keeping on going, man. Like, we're on episode 5, so we halfway to the goal of getting to 10, baby, and we in a groove, like a nice groove, because episode 10 would be 2.5 months. So, I'm really excited just to see the growth of where we are in like the middle of March, and whether it's more listeners, less listeners, more followers, less followers, whatever happens, I know that I put my all, or at least I put what I was willing to put to get to the point to where I'm at, whether it's in this podcast or at work, in my relationship. Like, I know that whatever I get my loyalty and love to is something that will always remain there, because that's something that I will give my loyalty and love to. So yeah, man, I think honestly that's probably about it for this episode. Just a little bit of a reflection and understanding that, hey man, if you out there and you have if you have nothing else, if you know nothing else, if you hope for nothing else, want for nothing else, need for nothing else, A, put God in your life. Fuck, nigga. B, lead with love, man. Love what you're loyal to, especially if it loves you back. And loves you in the good ways. I mean, because stuff can love you in the bad ways. They say that the devil blesses you too, because he blesses you with stuff that he knows that you're not ready for. So he'll give you what you want, knowing that you're not ready for it, knowing that you're gonna squander the opportunity. So be careful of what you want, and be careful of what's loyal to you, because it may be what you ultimately want, but is it what you need? I don't know, man. We'll see. I guess that's all we can do is just see, right? So, yeah, man, I think that's it for this episode. This is the D Starts With Me podcast. Do me a favor, before I even continue on with this outro, hit that notification button. Man, have that thing so it just pops up on your phone every Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, whenever you do end up getting on the app. Turn on that notification, man. So that way I ain't got to sit here and keep on reposting on the socials and things like that. Follow on the socials, please. I wouldn't mind that at all. All y'all got Instagram. All y'all got Twitter. So go ahead and give your boy a follow, man. We on everywhere that you do listen to your podcast. This Starts With Me podcast, episode 5. Life is beautiful. Make it what you make it. Make it great, because you are great. Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? Make your decision. Be loyal to what's loyal to you. Love what loves you. But love ultimately everything that hates you as well, because love triumphs all. Continue on. I love y'all with the most of me. This has been a great episode. I hope that y'all have a fantastic week. We will be back with the next one. See ya. Peace. Thank you for your time on this week's episode. I got one more request for you before you head up out of here. Check us out on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else that you may get your podcast. We're going to continue rolling this thing out on every other platform possible, so that way you can go ahead and chat with us, hit us up, give us feedback, share with your family and friends on other platforms as well. We are on Instagram, Twitter. So yeah, at the TSWM pod. Everywhere else, look us up. Thank you again for your time, and I'll see you next week.